Welcome to the Get Real podcast. My name is Austin. I'll be your host. And today we're going to be talking about the Houston Rockets, more specifically, the Houston Rockets and their future after the Jimmy Butler trade. As everybody knows, Jimmy Butler was traded during this past weekend on Saturday to the Philadelphia 76ers. Minnesota received Dario Saric, Robert Covington, a 2022 second-round pick, I believe, and Jared Bayless as cap filler. Philly received Butler and Justin Patton. So most of you are wondering how this pertains to Houston and where they're going to be from here on out. In my very first video when it came to starting this, the first thing I talked about was the Houston Rockets should give Minnesota pretty much whatever they want for Jimmy Butler, and I listed some reasons why. Just to give a quick rundown, Jimmy Butler would have given Houston basically almost everything they needed. Jimmy Butler's a great shooter. I mean, he's not Klay Thompson, but he's damn near 40% from three. So he's certainly not a liability from the 3-point line. He's also a 20 to 25 point scorer, and he brings defense, which is something they desperately needed. I think the problem was mainly with that trade was that not Denver, Minnesota just did not. They were not interested in any picks. And that mainly came down to Tom Thibodeau. And the reason that it's speculated that Tibbs did not want any picks is that he is fighting for his coaching job right now. Picks don't do him any good down the line if he's fired because they weren't in contention for the playoffs. So any picks that any team offered for that matter were they just didn't appeal to him as they would to a GM or president that was there going to be with the company long term. So basically from what they reported, I don't know if this changed later on, They wanted Gordon and PJ Tucker. I would have made that trade. Part of me gets it why Houston didn't make it. I think the bigger problem was getting rid of PJ Tucker, not really Gordon per se. I think they're perfectly fine leaving Gordon, especially with the start to the season that he's had. What Tucker brings to that team is a stretchy kind of stretch four that was really a big part of their playoff success last season. He was bigger than I would have thought. I'll just say it. I really didn't think his addition to the team would have done that much because he was in Toronto for a brief period and he really didn't do much there. So I thought, shit, he's not going to do much in Houston. He actually held his own pretty good, brought some three-point shooting and some tough defense, especially at the 4 position, and that really worked with going up against Golden State. And that was really, he's now even valued more so that they lost Trevor Ariza and Lava Mute, who I think is back with the Clippers, and Ariza's with Phoenix. So now they don't really have anybody. And I think there were hopes where we'll give you Ben Gordon. I think their last reported trade, because what Minnesota did before they took that deal with Philly, which is what anybody should do with any common business sense. They took that offer Philly gave them and took their last rounds around the league saying, all right, we're about to take this offer. Can you do any better? It's like something you would do for a car dealership and you get the best price. You should take that to 4 or 5 different dealerships and say, hey, this is the offer I got from your competitors down the block. What can you do? If they can't do any better, that's fine. That means you still got a good deal in hand. If they can, even better. So their last reported deal that Houston made for them, they said, you know what? This is what we'll give you. Gordon, Nene Hilario, and 2 first-round picks. Not a bad offer. I think that was the most realistic trade offer they made. Because before that, they offered Brandon Knight, that I'm blanking on his name. He was a lottery pick they got from Phoenix because he's just been a bust so far. He'll come back to me. And also 4 first-round picks. But like I said, Thibodeau doesn't care about picks. So it just really didn't matter to him. That's why he didn't take the deal. That's why he took Philly's deal. I think the Heat also offered just Josh Richardson and a first-round pick. So, it just didn't work. But now that it's over, now that the trade happened, obviously they can't go after Butler anymore. That's just a lost cause. Now they're just left with their roster currently as is. And they're in trouble. Are they better than their current record? For sure. I mean, I'm not a Houston fan by any stretch of the imagination, but they're better than their current record. I know Chris Paul has been struggling with another injury to his shoulder, but hey, what's new at this point? That's been this guy's MO for going on 5 to 6 years now, from regular season to the playoffs. So nothing's really changed. That's just how it is. So they're in trouble in multiple ways. Outside of this season, you got to look at the next 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Look at the Houston Rockets roster. Most rosters have like one young guy on there, or a few young guys who can kind of take the mantle, or maybe be potential starters down the line. Like San Antonio, their neighbors up Highway 35. They have DeJounte Murray. Jakob Poeltl could be their future center if he just learns the system a little bit better. Walker, they picked in the draft. He might be their future shooting guard. They have like a group of young guys, right? Even despite losing Kawhi over the summer. But Houston has nobody. There's nobody on that roster that's beneath the age of 25, 26 that you can look at and say, you know what? They might be something in the future. It might be a starter next to Harden, especially as he gets older. There's no one there at all. You got Capella. He's a younger guy, but Capella, he is what he is at this point. He's not going to add some new facet to his game. He's a rim-running center who can block shots, like a variation of a thinner, younger DeAndre Jordan, pretty much. I mean, he's fine, but outside of that, I mean, Harden's, I think he's just about at 30. And then you have Chris Paul, who's going to get paid $40 million over the next 3 years, up until he's like 35, 36, I think close to 37. So you're going to be paying a middle-aged, mid-30s Chris Paul $40 million. And also you're going to be paying Harden $40 million. And I think they got Capella on the hook for like close to 20, it's like 18 to 20 mil. So you're not going to have any cap space. Your picks at this point are all going to be late first-rounders. You're not the Spurs, so you can't really depend on drafting a star late because not many people can pull that off. And when they ever do, it's just pretty lucky. Like I said, unless you're San Antonio, when you have a good scouting department. And you have no young guys. So they're in this win now mode this is one of the reasons why I said they should really have gone all in to get Jimmy Butler. Even if it means getting rid of Tucker, you roll with the punches. What's your alternative at this point? Because now they have nobody, and they're kind of screwed. And if Chris Paul doesn't get healthy, they've lost their window. Like, their window closed before it even opened. This was pretty much their really last season to make a go at going for a title, because Chris Paul's not going to get any better, and once they're struggling with cap, what the hell else are they going to do? They have nobody else coming in. They even begged their defensive coach to come back from retirement. That's how desperate they are. So, I mean, you still have Harden, and he's an MVP candidate. He's not a bad player, but it's not going to be enough. And next offseason, a lot of teams have cap space. The Lakers and Clippers, two teams in LA, have 2 max slots open for next season. So even if Golden State splits up, someone's bound to make another team elsewhere. So even if Durant or Klay Thompson leaves Golden State, you're more likely to have to fight with someone else who's really good next season. And then you still got sleepers like Utah, like Denver. San Antonio's not done yet. I mean, they've really made DeRozan look even better than last season. He's their leading assist man and scorer. Aldridge's still there. Murray should be coming back next season. Derek White is a nice young, 25, 26-year-old backup point guard. He's going to be real solid. Might fight for 6th man of the year. There's going to be problems no matter what stars leave what team, no matter what you do. I just don't know what they're going to do to fight this. They just got to hope and pray they get lucky. Maybe there's someone else they can trade for with those picks that might appeal to another team. Who that guy is, I really can't say yet because no one knows. I mean, anybody listening, who do you guys think they could trade for realistically with their current cap situation and picks? There's no one really that comes to mind like a Jimmy Butler that could have helped them. So for right now and for the future, without having a young guy that's younger than 25 on Houston, that's actually a guy you can look at and go, hey, he will be on that team for a while. He'll be, he's on a good contract and he might help in the future. They don't have that. And they don't have the defensive capabilities right now to even hope to compete in the West. Are they better, like I said, than their current record? Absolutely. They're just going through a rough patch. I expect them to see maybe in the 4th to 5th seed, maybe 3rd. I mean, they can get back into it, but it doesn't matter if they're just going to get knocked out in the 2nd or conference finals round. And now word is they can't even get rid of Melo fast enough. The only reason Carmelo is still on that team is because his reps are reaching out to other teams saying, hey, you're going to give my agent, my guy Carmelo a shot, which no one's really biting right now. and that's a whole different episode in its own. But yeah, that's my conclusion. They're going to be stuck with cap space for the foreseeable future, paying guys like Harden and Chris Paul $40 million each, well into their mid-30s. Capella's fine, but he's not going to all of a sudden become a stunning three-point shooter. He's not going to really add anything to his game. He is what he is, and it's fine like that. But there's nothing else they can do. PJ Tucker, I like him right now. He's a good glue guy. He's 32, 33. He's going to be over the hill. So there's not many options left for this team, otherwise hoping that some guy becomes available on the waiver wire, or I don't know. I don't really see another option unless you guys have anything you think you got going on. But I think that's going to conclude it right now for this episode of the Get Real Podcast. If you guys got any questions, get them in now. Next 30 seconds. Otherwise, I'm just going to call it right here. But for those who are listening, this is my first attempt. I'm also live streaming this show on the NBA Amino Harwood app. It's the first time really streaming it. Might be something I might do in the future. If this is something you guys like, if this is content you like, might bring someone else on here as well after talking to them, seeing if I like their stuff. One guy I've done a kind of a collab with this so far is EMAC90, and I've also posted before that I've done a collab with him. So if y'all want to see what that sounds like, check out that channel of mine and see what you guys think. But alright, I'm going to end it right here. Leave any comments on this video on YouTube if you guys like this, if you have any questions, or if you have any ideas for who you think Houston could trade for. Is there someone out there they can trade for? Or are they just kind of who they are, and then we really can't expect anything else? But alright, this has been the Get Real Podcast. Thank you.